What's going on YouTube? Steven, the Salon Guy here, and in today's haircut tutorial, we're going to be making over this mannequin. And we're going to try to replicate my own haircut on this mannequin. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm looking at this haircut right now, and I'm saying, what could I possibly do with this besides going really, really short with it or just giving it some layers? And what I want to do is I want to create kind of like an 80s or retro bob where we bring this relatively short into here. We're going to stack it a little bit into here, and then we're going to just kind of work into a one length angled bob into here with some layers. So like Winona Ryder has had haircuts like this in the past, something that you've seen in a lot of movies, and it's still, still a really nice haircut. So I'm going to go through the haircut, kind of break it down step by step. I'm ready to go. Let's get started. All right, guys, so let's break down what we're doing with this haircut. What I've done is I've actually sectioned this off at the division point separating the front from the back. And I'm gonna actually start right here on the side, okay? Because sometimes when you change up your approach, it makes things a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking at this entire haircut right here, and I'm seeing the shortest point is right here, okay? So what I wanna do is I wanna actually cut this on an angle to match this point right into here. Now all I'm simply gonna do is I'm going to lock my scissors in. Now this is really key because if you have your scissors kind of parallel this way, there might be a chance you're gonna leave this longer. So your scissors need to kind of reflect exactly where you're cutting. So if you're gonna go in a steep angle, your scissors should be like this. If you're gonna keep it parallel and straight, then this way and like that. So your hand positioning really controls everything. So, and also you wanna make sure that the hair is not super, super thick. This mannequin has good hair, but it's not like super thick enough where the scissors aren't going to get through it. But you do want to make sure that everything is combed straight down into position. So here's where I'm going to start. Obviously watch the ear, all right? And we're going to cut. And if you need to stop at any point, that's fine. And then we can pick right up here. And there we go. So what we've done is we've actually created a nice angle going right in through here, which now tells me this is where I'm going to start my graduation or where the back is going to meet the front. So it's got to kind of round off right in through here, okay? So what I'm going to do is the exact same thing on the other side, and then we'll start to work in through the back. Okay, so as you saw, I actually went up this way, and I'm known for being uneven Steven. So let's check and see if Steven's even today, all right? And actually, no, I'm a little bit longer on this side. I went too short on the other side, but that's totally fine. So all you need to do is go in and just cut it a bit shorter. All right, so once you have everything kind of matched up, you can kind of bring this all forward if you want. Okay, now we're looking good. So believe it or not, you can actually send the client home right now. You don't even have to cut this. No. You do want to continue throughout the back. But the reason I did this, because believe it or not, this is like the hardest part. Creating that balance and that angle, right in through here is sometimes the most challenging thing, is getting these parts right. And again, if you need to go back in and do any sort of balancing or anything like that, you can always do that afterwards. So let's get this out of the way here. And now I'm going to show you guys how we're going to connect the back. All right, so I just want to show you guys kind of why I decided to cut this first and how this is going to make life so much easier for you. So what we can do is we can take a piece right into the corner here. And again, here is where we left off. All we have to do is connect the section right into here, and we're going to cut palm to palm going downwards this way. And again, it depends on you how close you want to get this, but don't be afraid to get relatively close down into the nape area like that. So as you can see, what we've done is we've actually cut this and worked it in this way. So now we have our guide to work through that the entire back of the head, working this way and then matching it up on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring this all out. We're going to cut through this, and then we'll come back when we're ready to match everything up in the back.
I don't wanna sure I got a lot to learn about love. Hey, summer's waiting for us, you know, the everlasting one. No matter if your heart is cold, I got plenty of time and heat for you. Plenty of songs to choose from. We got plenty of rooms, just pick one. We got sandal shoes in the middle of June while the J-Box playing our favorite tune. Don't wanna start, give the situation. I live my life like a revolution. No, I don't wanna wait, no. 'Cause I don't wanna wait no more.
Okay guys, so I'm pretty much done with the back for the initial kind of cutting. And what I want to do, and fortunately this came out pretty seamless in through here. It's a beautiful blend, nice transition going from the back working in through here into the longest point. So we've created that shape right in through here. But what I want to do now is start to kind of go in and just recheck everything. And that's very, very normal for haircuts like this. And that really helps with the longevity of the haircut, is to go in and to, work the hair in different angles, comb it, make sure that it's all connected in, make sure that there's no pieces that are like super heavy or things aren't longer. It's just really checking for the balance. A lot of times when you're cross-checking, if you kind of comb the hair in the opposite direction of how you cut it, that will help, things will kind of stand out at you and make it clear if it's a bit longer, if it needs to be trimmed. So what I'm doing now is I'm just literally going through the entire haircut again, but I'm just changing my hand positioning because, that's the thing about a good haircut, is that going back in and double checking, triple checking, because that's gonna not only look good now, but it's gonna look good as the hair grows out. And for those of you who know, I cut hair for it to grow out. That's my thing, is cutting hair so that in 4 weeks or 5 weeks, when it starts to really grow out, it's going to look good, and then the haircut can last another month and a half or another 2 months or so. So all of this is really, really important. As you can see here, I'm coming a bit over the top this way, changing my body positioning, changing my hand position. This is all really, really essential. And again, this is still technically the back part of the head. We haven't done anything to the top yet. Even though, yes, we did cut the sides to give us a bit of a head start, but we haven't even touched the top. And I do want to soften this a bit here to add a bit more layering working into here. And that's really going to help give this haircut a lot of movement, okay? All right, so once we're done checking and tweaking and all that, we're going to be able to work in through the top here. So to connect the back in through the top, it's the same exact method that I do with all my haircuts. So we're pulling everything straight out from the head this way, and we're going to cut upwards following the head shape. All right, combing it straight down, and now we're going to comb it out from the head. And as you can see through here, this is where the weight line is. So what we're doing is we're literally removing that weight right through here. And that is really what creates that seamless blend. Again, I'm looking to round this out. I'm not looking for like a really harsh line for in the back of the head. I really want to create more of a rounded, layered shape, and I think that also keeps it with that retro kind of feel, because a lot of those haircuts were like that. So once we have this all blended in and connected, again, don't be afraid to go back in and double check and triple check to make sure it's all even. Comb it in a variety of different ways, all right? Because that really is going to make sure it's perfect. Once we have this done and we feel comfortable and we don't see any issues, we can then move into the actual top. So what I like to do right in through here is, again, remember we connected this part, but let's just move right into this very, very top part right in through here. And how we do that is now we're straight up from the head this way, okay? So once we're straight up from the head, we let that hair drop down that we cut already, see how it's falling out, and then we can cut straight across on the top here. And what that's doing is it's really ensuring a really seamless blend like that, which means that everything's going to lay right over the top perfectly. There's not going to be any harsh lines or steps in the hair. And that's really, really, really key when you're cutting. A lot of times people will just take the hair straight up and they'll just chop it horizontally and without blending it. And what that's doing, it's creating a whole other weight line in the back. And you really don't want to do that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to work right down the middle. And since I do want to have a shorter to longer look, we're going to basically match this up right into the front. So this is the very, very front here. All right, the very front right here. And as you can see, we have a perfectly seamless blend going right to it. So now we're going to take another section right down the middle again. And we're going to cut those longer pieces. And this is really, now we're kind of like home free, because once you have a solid connection or a really good blend of the whole haircut, then it's really, really easy to work off of that. And what this is doing, it's removing weight. It's also giving the hair a lot of freedom to move around. Even though it is kind of a bob in a sense, we do want to have some sort of movement. And that's the kind of goal with this haircut, is to be able to have it move around freely. And even guys, you know, like River Phoenix or Leonardo DiCaprio had haircuts like this as well, to an extent. And it applies for you know, men's haircuts as well. You want to have that freedom and that flexibility throughout the entire head shape. So if I didn't layer this, it would just look like if I put a bowl on top of somebody's head. So if you guys or girls are getting your haircut and you start to notice that, you know, the hair is really, really heavy, it's probably because it's not blended, right? It's probably because it's not layered or blended properly. All right, so now let's do the corners. The corners are right into this area. We're going to pull it straight out from the head, and we're going to work our way down to the very bottom here. And again, this is all just to make sure that everything is seamless. This is really, when it comes down to haircutting, it's like a formula. You use the same formula, you know, or the same approach. Every haircut is different, every head is different, but once you understand the methodology of cutting, then it's like clockwork. It's like autopilot, you know. So the very front, what I'm doing is I'm over-directing this back a little bit to maintain that length in the front here, but also removing weight at the same time. So when you're cross-checking, you may not find any hair that needs to come off, which is a good sign, but if you do see any pieces that are like really, really long or something, just, you know, you have to backtrack and try to understand, you know, what caused that to happen. That's really the key thing with cutting, is once you find a mistake, you have to go back and think, well, why did that happen? And then once you can figure that out, then you're really good to go. So we're going to do the other side. And again, folks, we're kind of home free. I do want to do some stuff when the hair is dry to really emphasize some of it. But yeah, we're kind of home free. All right, so let's finish this up here, and then we'll dry it, and then we'll come back when it's fully dried, and then we'll do some texturizing at the end. All right, everyone, so here is the finished blow dry. We're not completely done yet because, again, I said I wanted to go in and play around with it a little bit. But as you can see, it's a beautiful flowing haircut. And I want to cut this to give it a little bit of diversity. But as you can look at all the texture and the movement that's in it. And I think I've always loved this type of haircut, honestly. But what I want to do now is I just want to go in and do some cross-checking again to make sure that everything is balanced. And this is the perfect time to go in to remove any sort of excess weight in throughout the haircut. If there's anything that's kind of, you see that may need some tweaking, this is the time to do it, because once they leave, they're gone, the client. So you won't have another chance to do this unless when they call back and they say they hate it. So this is the best time to go in and to make any sort of tweaks and changes that may be necessary. But I think everything is looking good. So now what I want to do, and this is where it's going to make the biggest difference, is I want to utilize my thinning shears right here. And what this is going to do is actually remove some weight, all right? And this haircut, as you can see, it's a bit heavy down into this area right here. I want to create a little more movement and soften this up a little bit. Now this works best on a woman who's got, or even a guy who's got relatively thicker hair that can afford to lose some of the weight and the bulk. So let's start to remove some of that weight and you'll see such a huge difference. Look at all that hair that's coming off. And don't be freaked out by that, but it needs to come off, okay? Because that's what's going to get rid of all that excess bulk into here, and it's going to give it that movement. And now what I'm doing is I'm extending it now throughout the top and the front, and then even the back. So let's take a look at the back here. And this is a great way, again, if you have any sort of, if there are any weight lines or any sort of parts that need to be blended a bit better, this is where the thinning shears come in very, very handy. These are a lifesaver. So you'll really be able to feel it. So if you're running your fingers through it and if you see something that just looks out of whack or it's a bit heavy, or too bulky, that's where this comes in, okay? What you don't want to do is remove weight from areas that need that weight, because that's really going to be the worst thing, the worst case scenario. What we're doing is we're just removing weight in places that really need it. And then lastly, I'm just going to go throughout the entire head like this, and it's kind of a free-for-all. Once you get comfortable with scissors and manipulating them, then you'll have no problems doing this. Again, only do this if necessary, but I think this was necessary for this haircut. All right, so here we have it, and that really did help. As you can see, it really slimmed this down in through here. We've got some great movement, some great texture in through here. You can really have some fun with this. And then the way I cut this allows the client to actually wear it on the other side as well. So a very versatile haircut, a very, very balanced haircut. Again, as you can see through here, what we did is we tapered this all nicely. I wasn't looking for a harsh weight line in through here. I did want more of a seamless kind of blend. Again, I think it's a bit more retro to have it this way. All right, really nice movement in through here. And it all works together. And by removing that heaviness down through here, that bulk, really gave the hair some flexibility and some movement. Because this is a mannequin head, it always tends to want to fall directly into the face this way. But with some hairspray or some product or anything, it'll help out tremendously. But I just want to show you guys the finished look here. I think it came out gorgeous. All right, everyone. So let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this haircut, if you liked it. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you're a professional stylist and you found this helpful, let me know. If you're a client that wants this haircut, let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for more videos with The Salon Guy.